Hey guys, it's August 8th, so I'm starting my weekly vlog for this week. I'm gonna try and do weekly vlogs again, but we'll have to see because that takes a lot of time and energy. I spent like all day editing my weekly vlog from last week, so it was a little too long, but I'm thinking if I start doing these more frequently, then maybe they won't be as long. But I do have a lot to do this week. I'm working on a readathon of Emma by Jane Austen with the same ladies that I did the Fyodor Dostoevsky short stories with and a couple other things. So I'm really excited about that. I need to announce it in the Literary Discourse Discord once we figure out when we'll be having the live show. I finished Witch Hat Atelier this morning, so that's what I did for my morning reading. It was very cute. It does remind me a lot of Harry Potter. Not because it's like the same thing, but just the feeling that it gave me, and it ended on a cliffhanger, and I can't wait to get the next volume. Other things I want to work on this week, I want to start another manga series, Rurouni Kenshin, which that was also a recommendation from Elena. I want to finish another chapter of my Korean book, and I would like to finish a lesson of my Talk to Me in Korean lessons that I'm doing to learn Korean, as well as answer a whole bunch of messages that have just been waiting for me, like on Voxer and Instagram and everywhere. I also have some friends coming over this week, and in case you hadn't heard, Victoria and Julio had their baby Alessandro, so congrats to them. Yay. I need to finish the Count of Monte Cristo because our finale live show is this weekend, and we're already planning for next year, and I'm just so excited. Also, I know you probably keep seeing little glimpses of my tomato plant here. And Fastathon starts on Sunday. We'll be having our sprints, and that'll be the first day of Fastathon. Really this week I want to finish I Married Adventurer by Osa Johnson. That would be my big reading goal, along with listening to the Count of Monte Cristo and finishing that, because I do need to start on Emma, and there is the Kate Howe's Victorian book club big coming up too, so lots to do, lots to read. I also had some holds come in, and that's about it for now, so I'll talk to you guys soon. It's now August 10th, and it's probably close to 2 p.m. I've been working and reading all morning. I had a really good morning reading a chapter of my Korean history book. It was all about how the Japanese came to be in power during the 20th century in Korea, and it was all like on this one year that they gained a bunch of power. It was like 1894 was the year, and they expelled the Chinese, who had previously been like the major power there, and it was such an interesting chapter because I didn't really know how that had happened. Loved reading that. And then I did a little bit of Korean vocab. I'm making like vocab tests and vocabulary lists in my composition notebook, and I am using the app called Drops to find some of my vocabulary, but I'm also getting vocabulary from like dramas and vlogs and stuff that I've been watching. I really notice a difference in my understanding of Korean just from focusing on vocabulary, but I need to work on some grammar. Today, I just arrived at a breakfast place that's like maybe 20 minutes from where I live, and on the way here, I got a notification that there's a fire in like, it's technically the town where my zip code is, but it's not exactly where I live. It's probably like maybe 10 minutes from where I live. So now I'm just like, do I need to go back home? But I think it's okay. It says that it's not spreading very quickly. There's a lot of potential with like some vehicles catching fire, so we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure it won't be a big deal, but it just makes me feel a little insecure to be away from home when there's a fire. It is now fire season in California. We have like 6 months of fire season. Oh, and I did get my library video scripted and filmed. So I took a clip earlier while I was sitting out on my deck and getting some sun. It's like such a beautiful day. It's not quite as hot today as it has been, which is good for fire conditions. Lately it's been like 90s and 100s, but today I think it's in the 80s. So anyways, I decided to come to this breakfast place. It's not just a breakfast place, but I always get breakfast when I come here, and usually I'll come here with like friends or my mom or something. And I used to always come here with them, and then we would go book shopping at thrift stores, because there's a bunch of thrift stores in this particular town. This town is so close to the lake though, like it smells really badly of Summer Lake, and it's so low that it's just like mud. It smells like mud. That's okay. I'm here with this book, The Far Pavilions by MMK, which I'm really loving. I'm listening to it while I'm physically reading. So I'm not making this an audiobook that I'm just listening to, because I'm listening to some other things. It's getting hot in here. So on the way here, and for the most part during the day, what I've been doing is listening to the Count of Monte Cristo, which, oop, just got another notification. I'll check that in a second. For the fire, I mean. Anyways, the Count of Monte Cristo is really culminating well. I'm in like the 80% now, probably like 82%. I'm really enjoying it, so yay. I'm glad it's paying off. 60% of this book I did not enjoy, which is a huge percentage. I think it's mostly because I'm not a plot-driven reader at all. Don't care. I like it when plot aligns with character, like the Red Rising books. I love the plot of that one because it aligns so much with character and theme and stuff like that, but this is not a character-driven book, so... But anyways, that's okay. I'm almost done with it, and the live show's this Saturday, so I've been making slow and steady progress in that. But hopefully today I can make quite a bit of progress, which I should be able to because I'll listen on the drive home. There's a car having car trouble out there and it's really noisy. Hopefully you guys didn't hear a bunch of that. But yesterday was so fun. I had a friend come over who I met through the library. She was one of our library teens when she was growing up, and now she's just blossomed into this wonderful, like, young music teacher. She's always like, hey, you want to hang out? And I'm always like, yeah. So we watched the old free version of And Then There Were None, the YouTube movie, and it was so good. Like, they changed the ending completely from the book, but typical Hollywood. There's also a lot of, it was like low-key racist. Anyways, I really enjoyed watching that with her, and I deep fried some lumpias. We made some hot chocolate and had like popcorn and corn chips and grapes. Oh yeah, and then we had dessert, of course, as if all that greasy, wonderful food wasn't enough. I had a drumstick and she had like a coconut bar, and we both had like such a good time. So we're gonna have to do that again sometime. We're gonna like rate all the older movies, all the free ones that are on YouTube. The first time she came over and we watched a movie, we watched The Emperor's New Groove, which was so fun and she loved it. I'm gonna head inside and get some breakfast food. Yummy. Oh, thank you. I'm reading The Far Pavilions. She's really good, like, so far. It's set in India. It's about the son of an explorer who died in a cholera plague. Exactly. Once you get into it, you can just keep on reading. Hey, I was in there for about an hour. I got like 3 pages read because I ended up talking with a woman there who's so interesting and cool, and she was reading Swan's Way by Proust, so I was like, we could have a conversation! Not that I've read Proust, but so it was fun chatting with her. And then there was a retired cop in there named King. Kingsley was his name, but he said, people call me King. So I got to chat with him and I was like, yeah, my husband's a PO. Not much reading got done, but lots of fun chatting with the elderly population of my county. Yay, I loved it. Hey guys, it is now August 15th and I just wanted to finish off this vlog with like a quick update about what happened with the rest of the week. I just thought I would get ready while I do it because hopefully I can film some other things today. The things that I need to film have been kind of building up and my foot is back to not feeling well, so we'll just have to see how much I can do before I need to rest. So last night Fostathon started, so I'll talk about that in my next vlog, but I had a really good reading week. I did finish The Count of Monte Cristo. I thought the ending really was more exciting than the rest of the book, but I didn't really feel like he was justified in all of the plans that he did, and I didn't really enjoy that. We didn't spend a lot of time with him. Maybe like 20-something% of the book was spent actually from his perspective. That's maybe 30%. So yeah, it wasn't really a book for me. It was too plot driven for me, but I was really glad to have finished it. I really was glad that I went to the last live show, even though I didn't talk that much. Janelle rated it like 5 stars, and I know Naomi loves it, and I know Tiffany loves it, so it's just good to hear other thoughts. But I'm really looking forward to our next summer. We're gonna read a Dickens, Bleak House, which none of us have read. So that should be a challenge. Should be fun though. That was a really good readathon. I love doing that every summer with Naomi, and I'm so grateful that she puts those together. I told Victoria about how I was talking to some elderly people at the breakfast place, and she was like, I think of your town as like Stars Hollow. So we are now Stars Hollow, California. I love that. I think that's hilarious. Let's continue the update about what's going on in Stars Hollow. The fire didn't turn out to be a big deal for where I live. It didn't spread very far. Our firefighters are very on it. Oh, and I think you probably saw I got the book In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park when I went thrifting the day I went to the breakfast place. So that was a really exciting find. I really love hearing the stories of North Korean defectors, and I'm almost done with Tiffany's summer book bingo board. I have like 3 more squares, but I'll update you more about that next vlog. I worked a lot on Korean vocabulary, but I didn't work on grammar like really at all this week, so that'll have to be a goal for next week. And I had company come over again the next day after I talked to you guys last. My neighbor brought over her little girls, and we made a bunch of lavender sachets, and they're so cute. I'm just in love with those girls. I also did some meal planning, and I vacation planned because we're gonna go to Apple Hill, hopefully. Hopefully I can do that in the first weekend of September, and I can bring you along with me. We'll see. I did finish another chapter of my Korean history book, which was really interesting. It was more about the period right before Japan kind of colonized Korea, because Korea actually became its own empire right before the Japanese colonized them, which I thought was so interesting. I had no idea that they were once an empire. That's where they came up with the name Hanguk, which is what Korea is called now. So it was a very productive week, but I did eat way too much greasy and fattening food, so that's gonna be a goal for next week. Calm that down. I also finished I Married Adventure by Osa Johnson, and that was just so fun. Like, it was definitely a product of its time in some ways, but overall it was just a real blast to hear about the safaris to Africa and all these different tribes that they visited who hadn't really been visited by people with cameras and stuff like that before, and airplanes and stuff. They broke a lot of ground in recording information about animals and people that we didn't know that much about in America and in the more modern world at the time. Because like I said, this is like the beginning of the 20th century when the events of this book were taking place. If you want to join the Zoom that Emma is doing for that book, it's like a book club book that she's doing for her Discord. You can find the information on her community page. It's like at the end of August. And as far as the manga that I showed you guys earlier, it was actually not the first one in this series. I think it was like a spin-off series called The Restoration. So I'm gonna try to order the actual first book and try it, but I think it's gonna be a little bit too action heavy for me. It's definitely like a Shonen Jump type, and the style was very hectic. I couldn't even really follow what was going on, but the characters were kind of cool. They kind of reminded me of One Piece, where the villains were just drawn very interestingly. So that's mainly it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Let me know down below if you have any thoughts or what you read last week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.